What's going on, guys? It's Evil Eddie from Pure Evil MMA, frontproofmedia.com. What a weird night. That's all I can really say to round things off. Randamie, the new UFC featherweight female champion. It was a really weird night. The judges were definitely off on a couple of these fights. We're going to be discussing some of them, but first, before we jump into any of that, make sure you guys are following me on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA and also frontproofmedia.com. We had a bunch of our family there tonight. Nick, you guys can follow him at NREMTB on Twitter. And also Jody. Shout out to Jody. Shout out to Edward Carbajal, who was also there from frontproofmedia.com covering the fights. I had an absolute blast, but, starting things off, Holm with the late shot. Randamie landing some late shots on Holm. Everyone on social media is freaking out about that. Holm actually started coming back. It was almost like a Michael Bisping-esque when Silva fought him, and we all know what happened there. But Holm, I started scoring the later rounds for her. We're going to be talking about that in just a second. Let's rewind. We're going to start with Anderson Silva. Let's cut the music. All right, so Anderson Silva making his return to the octagon. He hasn't won since his fight with Stephan Bonner back in 2012. His last 5 fights, including the one against Nick Diaz, which actually ended up being a no contest. Do I really have to get back into that for you guys? No, he did not win that fight. Some of you guys on Twitter were saying that he did. He did not win that fight. It was a no contest, or it was ruled later on as a no contest. I was so happy to see him win that, but I did not think that he did enough to get it. The first round, I had it for Brunson. Second round, Anderson Silva started warming up, started feeling his vibe. I still didn't think either guy did enough to really win any round there. I mean, Anderson Silva pretty much won because he was Anderson Silva and had that risk there all times. There were a couple of highlight moments. Anderson Silva had a beautiful jab in a couple of the rounds there, but nothing really significant. He tried a couple of spinning back kicks. Brunson trying to tie him up. It was just a mess for the judging, really. Judges scoring for Anderson Silva, and then he lets loose with this demons were coming out of his fucking vocal cords or something. It meant so much to the guy. So the whole time I was shaking. Every time Anderson Silva fights, I'm always at the edge of my seat, shaking, freaking out. I mean, it's been a long day getting ready for this fight all week. You guys can check out the podcast. We did the odd show, and a lot of what we thought would happen actually happened. I mean, talk about that Randamie fight. We said, Holly's got to watch out for that clinch. And the one thing that really pisses me off, that really taints everything, is the late shots. I mean, Randamie was really in the moment. I mean, I can give that to her. You could see in her eye, I even tweeted out during the fights, if you look in Randamie's eye when she was even walking out, she was just feeling it, man. Eye of the tiger. In my interview with Randamie, guys, she said that she's never even seen the UFC belt. So that moment when they placed it on her, I think that almost beats out the Amanda Nunes when she won the belt. We got Rusty in the chat room. Thanks for joining the chat room, saying Holly has a lot better chin than I thought. Wow, she took some shots. Yeah, she definitely took some shots from Jermaine. She had that perfectly accurate straight jab that was just rocking Holm as she was trying to come forward with her triple combos like we're all used to seeing in all of her fights. The real Anderson Silva showed up tonight. He's losing his touch. Or Brunson was better than I thought. Honestly, we were seeing a more tentative Brunson tonight. We weren't seeing the Brunson run around chasing Whitaker. We were actually seeing Anderson Silva chase Brunson around the cage at a couple of moments in that fight. First round, it could have went either way. That's the thing. There's only 3 rounds. When you're coming down to an Anderson Silva fight, you're not going to get what you want out of it unless you get all 5 rounds. Anderson Silva, he definitely looked happy in there, looked comfortable. He wasn't really worried about coming back. I mean, I do miss the walkout sign. song. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Doom, doom, doom. Only darkness every day. How do you not love that? Like him just focused, trying to get that belt back. Changes it up. I think that was actually his son's song that he was walking out with. You saw his son looking all spiffed up tonight. We saw those children as children a couple of years ago. It's just crazy how fast time goes by. You know, I tweeted this out as well. The teenage boy inside me really wanted to see Anderson Silva win tonight. I'm happy he did, but not a lot going on in that fight at all. Judges really screwing with people's emotions tonight. That's why I said, guys, if you're getting upset because you're putting money on these fights and you don't have enough money to really risk and you're losing out because of these freaking judges, don't bet more than you can. That's why we like having fun playing on UFC Pick'em. Tapology. Tapology has been a blast lately, guys. Definitely check them out. Tapology.com. You can find my picks on there. Also on UFC Pick'em, we have a league. I'll be announcing our Pick'em winners in just a moment. It looked like Brunson was going to KO Anderson with all those on-block shots in the clinch. Great point, Rusty. This is why I love having the open chat room here. Rusty makes a great point with this. This is one thing I pointed out in the odds prediction show and the Pure Evil MMA podcast, which got 700 views from you guys. Thank you so much for that. But I was getting nervous. I was saying the one thing Anderson Silva can't do, and the one thing I'm really getting sick of, is him trying to take shots, him sticking his chin out and really trying to play the game. I mean, if that's what he needs to hype himself up, you don't want to do that against Derek Brunson, man. You don't want to do it. I was so nervous because at one point I thought Brunson rocked Silva. We saw Silva do that same thing in the Bisping fight, got rocked in the first and the second at the end. So I was definitely nervous there. I wanted to see a 5-round fight. Anytime you get Anderson Silva in there, you need 5 rounds or you're just not going to be satisfied. I mean, I give it to the people who went there. He got a standing ovation. I mean, what a moment. Like I said, I was shaking the whole time that fight was going on. So Anderson Silva gets the win. He says that he's not going anywhere anytime soon. He says he got 6-7 more fights left in him. So, you know, after the performance tonight, it was kind of weird. I'm happy he got the win. I don't know what's going to be next. I really don't think they're going to leapfrog Anderson Silva to fight Bisping after that performance. I think Yoel Romero deserves it with the flying knee knockout over Chris Weidman. There's no doubt in my mind. And those two have been going at it. We talked about it today on the Pure Evil MMA podcast. You guys can check that out tomorrow morning or tonight if you want on Apple iTunes. Just search Pure Evil MMA. Give us a like and a follow. It means so much to us. I work very hard on it, trying to get everybody entertained, to really give you guys the show that you want. The podcast, the fight fans have always wanted, at least members of the week and stuff like that. Glover Teixeira versus Jared Cannonier. Another really weird fight. This is just a weird night. The main card, I know a lot of you guys were saying out there, not just the main card, but the entire card, you weren't buying it. And this is why. This is the reason why. And I think it's bullshit that anyone will say that it's because we've been getting spoiled lately, guys. That's why you're saying, I don't want to pay for this card. The main card was gold. I'm paying for that. I mean, I didn't have to tonight. I cover the sport. I don't have to pay for that. Shout out to the Pure Evil family who knows what's up. But you know what, guys? Glover Teixeira is a beast going into any fight. You got 3 rounds here. We were all saying it was going to end probably in the first or the second round. When it got into the second round, I thought Glover was going to be able to get on top and finish it off. But Glover landed a huge shot at the end of the second and really stumbled Jared. But I had all 3 rounds going for Glover. He found some trouble on the feet, though. I'm not going to lie. Like I said, Jared's got amazing foot movement. Watch the foot movement and watch the boxing. He wasn't able to put together, though. Glover was just taking him down. It looked too easy for Glover to take him down, and that's pretty much how he won. The fans were definitely booing at that point in the fight. A lot of frustrated people because there weren't many finishes tonight, guys. There was actually only 1 finish on the entire card. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was only 1 finish, and that is the next fight that we're going to talk about right now, which was Jacare getting the submission win in the very first round, like we all predicted. I mean, Tim's looked great up until this fight, but you're fighting freaking Jacare, who's always the favorite in the fights. There was a huge payout if you put 5 down. Like, if you got 5 on it, you would have won 55 back if Tim went to decision. That didn't happen. It ended in the first round. That's why the odds were set up like that. Jacare really sealing himself. This was a dangerous fight for him. I was trying to tell you guys, if he lost, he's sitting back down. Tim's climbing the ranks. And I'm happy that Jacare got the win, but it really doesn't do anything for him. It just helps him stay active there. So I'm happy that he got the win. Another submission win in the very first round. Congratulations to Jacare. And then the Glover to Sheriff fight. I'm sorry, I'm going all crazy directions here. Then the Glover to Sheriff fight. Glover wins by decision. Then we had Jim Miller against Dustin. This was one of the more favorite fights of the night on my card. I was excited back and forth the entire time. Dustin actually broke his leg, it kind of looked like. He was limping in the third round. Jim Miller could have went after it, and unfortunately got taken to the ground. Dustin was able to pound it out, but there are a lot of highlights in that first and second round with Dustin. They were actually trading, and Dustin even said it in the post-fight speech. He just wants to go in there and trade. His coaches were like, what are you doing in there, and what shouldn't you be doing? He's like, I'm brawling, but I love to brawl. Let's brawl, bro. That sounds ridiculous, but that's all he wanted to do. He's a fighter at heart. He played it smart. Jim Miller, I mean, he's not afraid to go to war. Dustin, after getting dropped in his last fight, needs to play it safe. He put on an amazing performance, but he said he is taking a break for a little while. I'm happy that he got this win, back on track. Let's take a break for a little while, put in a halt in Jim Miller's, what was he on, 3-fight win streak, I'm pretty sure. 3 or 4 fight win streak, beating Joe Lozon and a couple guys. The Joe Lozon fight wasn't all worked up to be, but that was a good fight. It just wasn't as good as the first one. Bilal Muhammad getting the win. Amazing leg kicks on his side. So happy for him. You guys out there, not you guys, but a lot of people out there were saying that Bilal Muhammad was going to find some trouble up against Randy Brown. That Randy Brown's a really well-rounded fighter. I said, you know what, when it comes to the grappling game and wrestling, I think Bilal's got the upper hand, but mostly Brown's a great fighter. Bilal's got amazing leg kicks, amazing striking, and he's a brute. It's going to take a lot to really wear that dude down. And boy, did he really prove a lot of people wrong tonight. He made a big splash in his debut against Alan Jouban on short notice. He was coming over from Titan FC. I mean, I've talked with I talked with Alan Jouban before his fight with Bilal Muhammad, and then I talked with Bilal Muhammad before his fight against Vicente Luque at UFC 205, which he lost. And the reason why, he still took that fight because it was such a big deal being on that UFC 205 card. Another comment here in the open chat room. Jim Miller missed a perfect chance to take out Dustin's leg. I agree, Rusty. Third round, he had the perfect chance. Dustin was limping, wasn't able to put much power behind his shots. And Jim Miller didn't really take advantage of that. I mean, he could have finished the fight. Who knows what could have happened. But yeah, he did not take advantage of that. Dustin was definitely in a lot of pain, man. A lot of pain. And you can give up quick. If you're in that much pain, you got a broken freaking foot. We saw the swelling on that thing. He was in a lot of pain. Luckily, he was able to take Jim Miller down. But Jim definitely missed the opportunity there. If they were trading, I think Jim definitely would have finished him. But Dustin gets the win moving forward there in that weight division. He looks great moving up in that weight class. What do you guys think? Some people are saying he should move down. I say stay right there at 155, man. You're looking great. Take a little rest. Get your head straight. You got the win over Jim Miller. Let's move forward. All right, so Bilal Muhammad gets the win decision. Sasaki, man, he's a half a foot taller than Wilson Reese. Reese winning every single round. Sasaki making those weird Evil Eddie faces. That's my shit, bro. You can't be doing that. I saw Cody Nolov doing my thing. What the hell's going on? I've been doing that since I was a little boy. I mean, I got photos all around the studio, but I'm not going to leave my seat. There's pictures of me from the age of 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10 till freaking 27 years old of me going around sticking my tongue out. If you guys don't believe me, my mom actually has gold jewelry with my face engraved on it with me sticking my tongue out. So stop stealing my shit right there, Sasaki. That's mine. That's mine. So it doesn't work, especially in the first round when you're not really doing much. He landed a couple of amazing shots with the length, but Wilson was able to take him down, and just pound him out. I mean, I know as simple as that sounds, that was the fight, man. That was it. Not much going on there. Sasaki didn't really do much to impress anybody. I mean, the first round was exciting if you were rooting for Sasaki, but Wilson, man, putting it together, getting that win. Nick Lentz versus Makhachev. I expect a lot more out of Makhachev, man. I know there's a lot of people out there that are huge fans, think that, if you don't like Makhachev's style, then you don't like Khabib, right? Not the case. I still think that Makhachev has so much potential that he can still tap into, or that we're just not seeing. Maybe it's the opponents he's going up against. I mean, Nick Lentz is a tough dude, but he just smothered him the entire time. That's what happened. Nick Lentz, he's got the power behind his leg kicks, but he's not known to really submit anybody. So he did what he had to do there. I definitely understand that. 3-round fight, you get the win, you move forward. That's how you play. If you're playing the game, that's how you play. But there's people that are in the top, in the control, who are not big fans, like Dana White, who is not a fan if you are fighting like that. So, another fight that went without a finish. There was only one finish on this card, but don't make a mistake, guys. I mean, rewatching some of these fights, I will later, but they were all exciting. Definitely a good free card up until the Bilal Muhammad fight, ending the free card on FS1. Then the real magic happened. That's when the real magic happened. So I do understand the frustration out there with a lot of people. Nick Lentz getting the loss there. Makhachev moving forward with Khabib in his corner. What's next for Makhachev? I mean, he's just going to take his spots up until he can get as far as he can go. He's calling out. Check this out. Everyone's calling him out, but Makhachev really made me giggle tonight by saying that he wants to fight Floyd Mayweather. So I know that he's not serious about that. I don't think he'd do good in a boxing match, maybe a grappling match. Definitely not a boxing match. So Makhachev making jokes tonight. Philip Nover versus Rick Glenn. Rick Glenn getting the notoriety of the mustache. He's been rocking that for quite some time. I've interviewed both these guys. Philip Nover, who was supposed to be the next GSP, the next Anderson Silva, like Dana White said on that season Ultimate Fighter. He's actually a nurse from right here in New York. My mom being a nurse, in our interview with Philip Nover, we had a couple of laughs because he can do so much with the sport, even when he leaves the octagon. Not that he wants to start planning for any of that, but he could be the next Stitch Duran if he wants. He could. Though it's endless what he can be doing. But he actually started going back to work, and then he started returning to the octagon. I thought he could have done a little more tonight. He did great in the fight against Renan Barão. I expected a little more out of him, but Rick Glenn really proving to everybody out there that he's ready for the UFC. He can take out somebody like Philip Nover, who just fought the former champ. So it interests me. I'm going to actually try to get Rick Glenn on the show. I talked with his PR a couple of months ago. I was going to say weeks, but it's actually been a couple of months now since his last fight where he filled in on short notice. The UFC called him up, and he did a great job in his fight. I don't remember exactly who it was against, but he ended up going to a decision, I'm pretty sure, and he looked great in that fight. So we were all saying, if this dude had a full training camp, what would have happened then? Well, now we saw. We saw what happens, and he went up against a veteran fighter like Nover. Getting the win. What's next for Rick Glenn? I don't know. One fight on this card that I really did miss, though. Hello, Ian McCall. The guy has the worst luck ever. I'll try to get in contact with him again, see if he can get back on the show. Hopefully he's feeling better. He was supposed to come on for the Halloween special with Bilal Muhammad and Jose Shorty Torres. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to. He's been really busy lately with the move and a lot of personal problems with his hand. He said that this next fight could be his last one if he gets injured again. So we're going to try to get Ian McCall on. He just has the worst luck. This is like the 6th time this has happened to the guy. I mean, I still say, you guys are going to hear it from me all the time, I still think that he won that fight against Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Still believe it. Still believe it. So we'll see what's going on with him. I'll tweet him tonight, see what's going on. All right, so our main event, I know a lot of you guys out there are freaking out about this. I was on social media for just 5 minutes when I was, I stepped away from the computer after the fights, after she got her hands raised. Everyone started leaving. Everyone started leaving the Barclays Center. I got a couple of our listeners there. Shout out to Nick, shout out to Jody, shout out to Ed Carbajal from FrontProofMedia.com, who's covering the fights tonight. Telling me, taking pictures and telling me there's people leaving. They don't even care to find out who won this fight. A lot of you guys were upset that those late shots came in. Well, she's in the heat of the moment. We saw that in that Joanna Jędrzejczyk fight versus Claudia Gadelha in the very first fight. It's frustrating, man, because she did a great job in there against Holly Holm. It's exactly what I expected. We said, watch out for the clinch. Me and Steve said it on cage-side submissions. We interviewed Jermaine Randamie for 2 hours. She's a lovely girl, just like Holly Holm. I asked her, I said, name something that you like about Holly Holm. She says, there's nothing I don't like about the girl. She's awesome, has a great personality. She didn't mean any harm on Holly, but she definitely almost dropped her with a cheap shot. And I'll tell you what, the ref should have taken a point from her. I'm not playing, buddy just because I interviewed her. This is the thing, guys. This happened twice in the fight. You should take a point from her, even the playing field out, because now you got a whole bunch of raving fans out there saying that she doesn't deserve the belt, that Holly got robbed because of those late shots. Take the point away. It takes away all this drama that we're going to have to hear about this now. I don't know what was going on with that referee. And then in the last round, he gets in between the girls before the bell even goes off. The hell, just a really weird night. Between Anderson Silva getting the win, Jacare submitting, it was really the only normal thing we saw tonight. The one thing that we all really predicted was the Jacare getting the submission in the first. Everything else was just pretty weird. My fight of the night honors go to Dustin, the Diamond. Great fight for him, pushing it out in that third and final round. Jacare should get fight of the night bonus. Silva, I don't think they did enough in that fight. There's going to be a lot of people out there arguing with me on this. I just don't think they did enough there. I'm happy that Anderson Silva won that fight, but not for 50K. Not for 50K. And I'll tell you what, I was the most nervous in that fight. I was at the edge of my seat shaking. Every time Anderson Silva fights, it should be 5 rounds. We didn't get to see we didn't get to unwrap the entire present, if you know what I mean. We didn't get to finish the last of our bowl of Cheerios there. I was excited about it. If you had 2 more rounds, imagine the possibilities there. Once you see Anderson Silva moving around, using the handwork and stuff like that, this isn't it. That's not what he does, but still, it's a beautiful thing to watch him fight. One of the greatest of all time, but definitely not living up to it tonight. Happy he won. Let the demons out of his vocal cords there when he won. We remember that a couple of times in the past where he broke down crying. Seeing his children tonight makes me feel old. Well, how do we wrap this night up? Well, let's check out our UFC Pick'em winners. If you guys want to play UFC Pick'em with us, and I got to check my Tapology as well. Shout out to everybody that played along tonight on UFC Pick'em and Tapology. I'll be checking that in just a second. We got some winners of the night, so we're going to be announcing that in a second. Hey guys, make sure you're following frontproofmedia.com for all your MMA news and media. MyMMAnews.com. What else? Follow me on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA, on Facebook at Pure Evil MMA. I'm going to be posting up all the photos from Nick Jody and Ed Carbajal because they were there ringside tonight. And I was telling Nick, a lot of people out there, they buy the tickets. They're like, well, they're not the greatest seats. Well, guys, I've been on press row so many times. The best seats are not necessarily cage side. The best seats, in my opinion, are you can see right over the cage, right inside all the action. Because a lot of the time, I'm up trying to see. Like if you watch Access TV, you see me in the corner on Lion Fights. You can see me a lot there on when I go to cover. Access TV is always getting glimpses of press row. Even at World Series of Fighting, if you guys were watching for New York and saw me on there, the whole time you're like this, trying to see what's going on. It's hard. So if you get the seats that are up above, that's a score. Let's see who we got on the UFC Pick'em winners. Rusty saying Dustin was on point. He fought clean, accurate, and had stand-up. Yeah, man, I totally agree there. I'm always excited when Dustin the Diamond comes. He's an accurate fighter. He's a great boxer. If you guys want to know more about Dustin, you can go check out his documentary. Amazing documentary on his journey to the UFC. So let's see what our winners are looking like tonight for UFC 208. Holly Holm versus Jermaine Randamie. Coming in first place, Youssef with 2,735 points. Second, Into the Storm. Shout out Mike. Third, Wicked Ways, 1972. Fourth, Pat, PMC, Underdash MMA. Fifth, Maximus. Sixth, Salem. Tied for sixth, me and Salem. So sixth place, Salem, 1976, and Evil Eddie right here, man. 2,065 points between us. In 8th place, we got Mean Gene from Mean Gene's Fight Scene. You guys should totally check out the MMA 2016 awards that we did on Pure Evil MMA with Bloody Elbows, Eddie Mercado, Mean Gene Fight Scene, Jay LaFleur, and I. And Kate-Side Submission, Steve Reichel. We had a blast, guys. It's right here on YouTube, Podbean, and iTunes. And lastly, tied in 8th for Mean Gene also is Shelly, who I think is related or married to Mean Gene, matter of fact. I might be wrong. And then in 10th place, Genuine Geo. But congratulations to our UFC Pick'em winner of the night in the Pure Evil Army. It goes to our boy, our general, our number one man that's been with us since day one on this show. Yusuf, shout out, brother. Congratulations, especially since you live out in Amsterdam and you get to see Jermaine to Randamie. Thank you guys so much for tuning into Pure Evil MMA. I had a blast tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the post-fight wrap-up here on Twitter, iTunes, and Podbean.com. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Pure Evil MMA. You want to follow me on my personal page at Evil_Echo. That's EVIL_ECCO. FrontProofMedia.com, guys. Behave yourselves.
DJ Pain 1.